Welcome back to Color Class. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
And today we're going to be looking at your perfect brown. But before we can get into it, please press that subscribe button. It's our new thing. We have to talk about the subscribe button before we get started. Warm brown versus cool brown. That is tricky.
It is tricky, and it affects a lot of stuff. It affects not only your clothing, because no matter who you ask, what's your favorite color? Likely they won't say brown.
No.
But how much brown is in a wardrobe? And how much brown do you need in a wardrobe? It's one of your basic kind of key pieces.
Yeah.
So it's important to know, and it affects your makeup and hair.
So let's go ahead and look at some warm browns versus some cool browns. So I put two models up on the screen, different skin color, different outfit colors, the whole thing. One section is wearing warm, one section is wearing cool. And you can see there's a big difference between these two. The overall undertones that you see. The warm browns, they obviously have hints of like red, orange, gold, giving them that earthy tone is the best way to describe it, like autumn leaves or cinnamon kind of look.
Almost like you took the color and put a drop of orange in everything.
Right. And then on the other side, these cool browns, they look like they have more like a hint of blue instead of red, or gray, kind of making it look a little bit dustier. That's kind of giving the cool brown. But you see that with things like dark chocolate or like bark in winter. I know that's one of our common things because winters are cool and so are summers. And then on the warm side, we have autumns and we have springs. So this is just a visual representation of what a group of warm browns looks like versus cool browns.
And you might, in terms of the cool browns, sometimes they call it a rose brown. When you're looking for the proper brown and you're a cool season, a rose brown can be something to look at. Makes it easy.
Right. That usually signifies that it's cooler versus like a warm or a caramel or have those
color names. I mean, think of warm browns, camel, terracotta. They'll flat out tell you golden brown, tan. But with the cooler browns, you'll see things like the rose brown that we talked about, or maybe chocolate brown. Talked about that. So sometimes the names will give you a clue.
Now, something that brown is very, very important with is your hair color. Okay, so if you are in even the slightly warm brown or cool brown area, this is critical because hair color makes a whole lot of difference when it comes to color analysis. Say somebody who is a very warm skin tone person, warm eyes, they go and dye their hair an ash brown. All right, that's going to disperse some of the harmony because now we have a cool brown competing with all these warm features and vice versa.
Well, and what it'll make the hair look, the way it'll make the hair look is ashy.
Right.
So if you're, if you've got the warm skin tone, if you've got the warm coloring, green eyes, warm brown, whatever, amber, and you do your hair an ash brown and it has no red or gold in it, your hair will look on the gray side. It'll start to look gray or green.
I was going to say green. You get that a lot. When people's hair starts going green, that's because there's not enough harmony connecting all of the features.
And then conversely, if you are a cool skin tone person and basically you've got everything happening that's kind of on the cool side and you go put a lot of gold in your hair, it's going to make you look washed out.
Yes.
And that's something that you want to avoid,
right?
Getting it real dark, real warm, real, lots of red and gold, and then you have no red or gold happening anywhere else.
Exactly. So just to overview really quickly, winters and summers, you want to stay on the cool side because you tend to have cooler skin tone, cooler eye features, but on the warm side, autumns and springs, you're going to want to stay on the warm brown hair colors because you have warmer features like skin tone or eye color. But this also plays a part when it comes to cosmetics. And we've talked about contour before. I mean, that's not new to this channel.
peeve.
Yes. You did an entire video on why contour drives you crazy, because the color range is not very robust when it comes to cool tones.
Well, there are cosmetic companies out there today, big cosmetic companies, that give you a color called bronzer. And it's one color, and inevitably it's orange.
Right.
You know, it just leans toward orange.
We've done a whole video.
Yeah.
I'll link it because we gave a bunch of examples of cool bronzers and warm as well if you're interested, and including contour. So I'll link that here for you guys. But we know what happens if you were to put a very cool bronzer on somebody who is warm. It goes gray. It's unbelievable the difference of just having the wrong shade of contour makes, because your skin literally goes flat. It goes completely gray. And I've had this happen to me because I am kind of this back and forth person. I have a neutral skin tone with warm hair. So if I do want to emphasize my warm hair, I go warm. But if I want to wear something a little bit cooler, then I have to remove my hair from the equation and I utilize cooler makeup. But I have to then have both sides of the spectrum when I'm doing my makeup. I have to mix.
Drawer. Yeah.
Right. I have to be able to mix. So I have neutral foundation, I have warm foundation drops, I have neutral bronzers, and I have warm bronzers, just to be able to play up what I'm wearing that day color-wise. But you can see here with this model, on the left-hand side, this is just an animation to give you an idea of how real this problem is. We have warm skin tone, warm hair. We put her in a warmer color of like a blush lip kind of combination, just so you can see what it looks like on her face to really emphasize it. On the right-hand side, we did the exact same thing. No colors were changed. Her skin tone, even though her skin tone looks more gray on the right, her skin tone is the exact same color. And this is an animation. This isn't even a real person. Yeah. Look at what happens when you put, and this is a gray brown. It looks gray here, but I pulled this color straight from the models we showed earlier. So even though this shade looks completely gray on her, this is actually a gray brown. And this is what we talk about when we say you go gray.
And you don't want to go gray. Now, without a doubt, if you kind of close your eyes and blur them a little bit and just look at the skin tone, it just flattens out.
Isn't that amazing?
Lose your warmth. It's, you know, we do color illusion videos all the time because color is magic. And the right color is fabulous, and the wrong color is unfortunate.
And the right color, you know, it makes your skin look healthier. It makes you look younger. It makes your eyes look more clear. Looks like a sparkle to them. Your skin is glowing, youthful, radiant. You get all these amazing adjectives versus when you wear the wrong thing, you don't get the best adjectives.
You do not. And here's kind of another fun thing, you know, about color. All you have to do, like brown is a great eyeshadow for everybody.
Right.
Some kind of brown is a great eyeshadow. Just great. You want the warmer browns on the people who have very warm skin,
warm eyes,
in that direction a little bit. And you want a cooler brown on the people that, you know, have cooler features.
Cooler eyes.
But you get a brown that's got a little too much red in it, and you will look like you've been crying for days. It just completely makes the whole area around your eye look sore.
Right.
I mean, and again, that's a color illusion. It freaks me out.
Well, it's trying to find harmony, so it finds harmony in the redness in your eyes.
Yeah,
so,
by emphasizing
right.
it and bringing it out. And that is something that you never want to do. So that's why you have to be very careful about your brown eyeshadow and making sure that it's appropriate.
So hopefully we didn't scare you, but we will teach you how to figure out the right, if it's warm versus if it's cool brown. So let's get into that now. Gold and silver is probably the best bet to helping you figure out cool versus warm browns. Now let's take a look at a silver strip and a gold strip with a bunch of browns underneath. You can see the cool browns are going to pair really nicely with the silver versus the warm browns are going to pool really nicely with the gold. Why? Because the gold's finding harmony and then the silver's finding harmony. If we were to switch these, it's going to stick out, right? The warmer browns are going to look more yellow and it's just going to stand out. It's not going to look as harmonious with those colors. So silver and gold are your best friends.
Absolutely. And you have to be so careful. I decided, and this was years ago, that I was going to dye my hair. And I told the woman I wanted a blonde, and I wanted it to be kind of on the cool side. Well, I didn't make a good choice in colorist, because when it was done, it looked yellow. I mean, straight up yellow. But and when I said, this looks yellow, it doesn't look cool, and she goes, well, it was it said cool, and it had some purple in it, and I did it. But because I was so cool, because everything else was so cool,
Right.
it made this stuff on my hair look yellow.
Right.
And again, that is why we have to be so careful about our warm and our cool, and making sure that we bump them up against something that's gold or silver. Even if you're in a Sephora or an Ulta and you're looking at brown eyeshadow, and you want to make sure that it's going to harmonize with you, and maybe you can't put it on right then and there, have some gold and silver jewelry handy, or have something gold and silver in your purse that you can pull out and do exactly what we're doing here on the screen, holding it against the brown, and make sure that there's harmony there, because you definitely don't want to make a mistake.
Luckily, a lot of brands will say this is a warm, this is a neutral, this is a cool for their foundations. Not so much their eyeshadows or their... Sometimes we can see it with blushes, but
rarely do they do it with browns of any kind.
Yeah, I would say unless a brand is like really robust in their like contours or bronzers, then you'll get hit with like, this is a warm or a cool. But if it's just like a brand that's putting out 1 or 2 shades here and there, then you don't get that at all.
Now, I love this sweater you're wearing. I love this color on you. It's beautiful. It harmonizes with your hair. And, even though you have a neutral skin tone, it's beautiful.
I warmed my skin tone up today. I used warm drops, and I used a warm bronzer on my skin to warm my overall features.
Well, bravo, because you made this warm sweater work beautifully with your hair color. And this is what we need.
This would normally be way too warm for my neutral skin tone. So I had to do something to adjust myself to be able to wear this. Now, because I do have competing features, I do have to adjust myself on a daily basis to figure out, do I need to go warmer, or do I need to go cooler? Do I need to remove my hair, or can I let it out? So there's a lot of challenges when it comes to things along that level, but that's a whole different topic, and we have videos on that.
We do. And imagine if you're trying to determine your season strictly by your skin tone.
Right. It would be very difficult. Well, if we did that, then I wouldn't be a redhead. So
if we did that, you would be a cool.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So not to bring in too many confusing aspects here. Warm brown, cool brown. Make sure you know the difference. Make sure you look for the difference, and make sure that you choose the right brown.
Because it's all about harmony, especially we talk makeup, hair, your clothing, everything. We want harmony to create a piece with your overall look, so nothing is jarring when somebody looks at you or wants to talk to you. That's the whole purpose of color analysis. Thank you for joining us on another color class video. One last thing to talk about. We do have our color analysis available. I do have a link down in the description below. We are currently on a wait list. I am so sorry to report that. But if you want to join the waitlist, you can over on our website. Or if you join Patreon, Patreon is where you get the first dibs, I guess, on color analysis. So we give it to all of our Patreon members first because we love you guys and we are so thankful to have you there. All right, so if you want more of Color Class, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Again, back on Patreon. We love chatting with you guys there. And liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, all of those things helps us out here on YouTube. It makes us able to keep creating more content for you guys.
Yes.
So thank you for being here. Lastly, I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
This has been another Color Class, and we'll see you in our next video.